Hi, my name is Rose Bailey Joseph, and I'm here today to tell you my story and why I would say that I ain't that chick. Some 15 years ago, in what was a perfect marriage, perfect work situation, perfect life, everything around me looking really rosy, next thing I knew, it was in 1,000 little pieces. I didn't know what to do, I didn't know what I'd done wrong, but somehow I was in a really bad place. But I trusted God. I trusted Him. I started to take the steps forward, and He was able to do what I didn't think He could do, and that was restore the years that the locusts had eaten.
I ain't that shit.
It's about self-empowerment. It's about self-awareness. It's about self-respect. Welcome back to another episode of I Ain't That Chick. I am your host, Nate Barcliffe, and I do have another brave, wonderful, beautiful woman here sharing her story today. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi everyone, I'm Rose Bailey Joseph. Nice to meet you all.
Now, Rose, in your intro, you mentioned, a marriage or a situation, and you said it was perfect. Take me into the perfection.
Okay. The perfection of my marriage was the fact that I was married, I believe, to the man of my dreams. I'm a pastor's kid, right?
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a pastor's kid. Okay. Church, Bible school, the whole 9 yards. And that's all I know. Saved at 13 and baptized and speaking the whole 9 yards. And so I always wanted to be married to somebody who was upright and in the church, for sure. And so I got married to a minister of music. Music is one of my first loves. So I got married to, he was popular. Everybody thought he was great. He had lots of admirers. He was an amazing musician. And he treated me well. We had fun.
He was the catch. He was the perfect catch that every church girl...
Everybody wanted him.
Because, when they start singing and all that, woohoo!
And he could play. He could play... To me, he could play people into healing. And he could play people into peace. And he would play in our home, and everything was just... It was just perfect, and everybody admired us. We had, by the time we were married for 5 years, we had a marriage ministry where we took people away on weekends, prayed, ministered to them. People came into our home. I love to have my open home. People came into our home. We had an evangelistic ministry where we did an outreach every month into the community, playing music. I'm emceeing, I can't sing like people sing today, but I'm singing, I'm dancing.
You had the dream. You had the dream.
Yeah, everything. And it was just like, wow, this is really great. And even my wedding was like a fairy tale. 400 people, white dress, honeymoon in Paris.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Exactly.
Ooh, okay.
So everything was fine, perfect. And you have to excuse me because I really want to just be open, is the fact that when you have so many things around you that are going well and everything's perfect, you can sometimes begin to kid yourself. So you see cracks.
So you think you make yourself see cracks, or you see?
So you see cracks and you go, that's just life. Okay. So the first crack I saw, I went, this is because you don't know him. This is because this is the first time you got to see him. And then the next crack I saw, I said, that's just because these women are jealous of me because I have such a wonderful husband.
Explain one of the cracks. Give us an example. Because somebody out there may be seeing a crack.
Yeah. So the first crack that I saw was because he was popular and because all the women liked him. The first thing I saw is that a lot of women used to phone my house. And he had a lot of female friends.
Okay.
And I don't know, it made me feel good at the beginning, but then I got a bit nervous because the phone calls were too often and the phone conversations were too long, and he would have a phone call and then leave and then say, you know,
I'll be back or whatever.
yeah, I don't want to say any names, but you know, sister so and so needs to see me.
Oh, really?
I needed help, and he would go.
And they weren't, sister so and so wasn't calling for you.
No,
Never to speak to you.
no. So that was the first crack. But I just told myself it's okay and whatever. Then the second crack I saw was that his lifestyle and being a musician and all these kind of things, he wasn't really good with money. And so I constantly found myself always having to give him money.
That's a big crack.
And he was working.
That's not a crack. That's a crater.
Exactly.
A crater. Okay.
But I said to myself, well, you know, we're in this together. I earn good money.
You loved him.
Yeah. And so we did, and so that's what I did. But what was interesting was one day I just challenged him. I said, how come you're always running out of money? And how do you need money? And he sort of said, well, you know, it was this, and I had to get this, I had to get this synthesizer. And he would tell me something, and he's my husband, so then I would give him the money. But it just, that wasn't good. But then the crack behind that was I would go to my purse. And I would say, didn't I have £30 in this purse? Yes, I'm from England.
Yes, pounds.
So that's
a lot.
I say in dollars. But I said, didn't I have £30 and I'd like to have £10? I'm like, oh, okay, there's no money in my purse. Okay, leave it. Go to the bank.
Did this happen a lot though?
Way too often. And I started to think that I was just not remembering the amount of money that was in my purse. And that I was just being paranoid about these women.
But now, did this start immediately after you guys got married or a few years in?
Unfortunately, immediately. Oh, okay. And what was interesting is, even though it started, even though there was these women calling and he would go out and everything, we were building a really nice life though. He wasn't ill-treating me, and we were having fun, and there was nothing missing in what should be in a marriage. Right? We were, you know, we had relations, use the old term.
Yeah.
Nothing, you know, so although that was going on, I kind of felt it was noise and just people getting in the way. And, you know, and then we had a moment where we just kind of settled. You know, we got our house.
Okay.
He was kind of working part-time, now he was working full-time. My sister helped him to get a job. So all these things were going on and things were settling and it was fine. And he was a musician and traveling and being in the studio and everything. So there was a lot of times where he wasn't home or came home late. And I didn't think anything of it. I'm a very trusting person.
Right, as we all should be.
Right?
And like you said, your marriage was good.
Yes.
Your marriage was good.
Yeah, so if you tell me that you're in the studio till 4,
I believe you.
I'm
I
in the
trust
studio
you.
till 4.
Right.
If you tell me you're going to travel to London to do a gig, and you know, I've always had a very high pressure job, so I can't just drop and go to a gig.
Right.
So all of that dynamic kind of meant that he had a huge opportunity to be away from me a lot. Overnight, weekends, a lot. And so, but I didn't add any suspicion to that at all. I just thought, okay, he's traveling, he's a musician. And when it was time for a family event or a wedding or for us to go away or Christmas, he was there. No problem. So it was fine. And, you know, I knew lots of musicians who were in studios and traveled and jet-setted to Paris to do gigs. So because of that, I really didn't connect that there was anything going on.
But when did you know that something is not right?
Okay. There was a lot of things that led up. But I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to believe me, because I know that you've got to know me, Nate, and you would say she's a sensible woman.
Right, very sensible.
Right. So when I tell you this, and I know this is going to go out on the airways, but I'm going to say it because I think it's important, because it's about the masks that we wear. And those masks will really get us into deep, deep trouble. So about year 7, it was time, he was having a birthday, and we were planning a birthday party, and we always did parties. I always celebrate, and we were planning this party, and suddenly he said, oh, I don't want a party. So I said, are you okay? What do you mean you don't don't want to party. I don't want to party. I don't want to party. So I said, okay, fine. All right, I'll cancel. And then he said, no, it's okay. We can do it because I see that you're upset. So 48 hours before the party, came in from work and I'm running around, I'm shopping in Marks and Spencer's and everything. Party, invitations are out, my house is ready to be full. And he goes, no, I don't want the party.
48 hours before?
Yeah. So now it was like, well, so I said, well, why didn't you say before, etc. Anyway, because of long story short, the evening before, so it was a Thursday and we were doing the party on a Friday, the evening before, I come home from work and I've got things laid up and I'm preparation is the key.
Yeah.
So I've got a whole lot of things that are prepared for this party. So now I'm just trying to get myself together. And first of all, I didn't realise the time passing. I came home from work early, I didn't realise the time passing. And it kind of got to 9 o'clock and I said, oh, 10, 11, 12. And then I get a message saying, oh, I'll be home, I'm just going to be late. I went to bed that night. And he never came home.
That night?
Never came home. After the text saying he was going to be late, he never came home. Got up the morning, tried to phone him, couldn't get him, was freaking out. So I get to about midday and I've got to now tell everybody that I'm not doing this party, so I don't do the party. But then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the doorbell goes and it's a parcel. Now he had family that lived in the States and it clearly was a birthday parcel. Right. So I just put it on the table because I'm freaked out. I haven't got no time to think about this parcel. Right. So I do what I'm doing. And then, I don't even know what made me do it. I went to the parcel and I opened the parcel.
Was it a big package?
It was a big package.
Okay.
No, it was a big package. Don't ask me why. I just said, let me just open the parcel. And I opened it and it was in a box. And then I took out the box and there was a gift and I opened the gift. And the gift was aftershave and some goodies. And there was a card in there. And I opened the card. And my mind was saying that this card is probably his sister or somebody. I didn't look at the address. Right. And I opened it up. And the card said, to the man I love.
My thing is she had the nerve to send that to your home, probably hoping and praying you would.
So, and we'll come to the story because I know that we're on a time slot here. You know what I did? And this is where I say the maths and the stupidity, and every time I think about it, I go, how on earth? Rose, you are one of the most sensible people.
Yes, how did you miss that?
Girl, I ripped the card up, threw it in the garbage, hid the gift, and I never said anything to him. Not a word.
Why not?
I have, to this day, every time I think about that, I do not know what made me go into closure. But that's what I did. I said, if for me to understand that some woman has just sent a gift to my
just blatant with it, just
means that I have to accept the fact that something's going on here. And I didn't want to.
You didn't want to?
I didn't want to. I looked around. I had a 4-bedroom house. I just didn't want to.
You didn't want to disrupt your life, the life that you had built.
To accept that truth, I would have to look and see that what I was having.
Wait a minute. Wait. I think I might be a little slow. Did you put it away and not confront him?
No, I didn't.
Because you didn't want... Oh, Rose.
That's what I'm saying is you know me over these years. You would not believe that I could be that stupid.
Are you serious?
I ripped up the card and I hid the gift and I never confronted him. I never said a word. He finally came home. I never said a word. He skulked around and said, I'm really sorry, etc. And then after we saw a few people and said, hey, he was going through a midlife crisis, laughed it off, I kept it moving and I never said a word. I never said a word to my sisters. I never said a word to a best friend. I just kept it moving.
But when you're by yourself...
I cried.
How do you process? What are you thinking?
I cried until I could not cry anymore every time I was alone. And then I said, Rose, you are going to go insane. Let it go. And I said, okay, you've got to confront him. But every time I went to confront him, I didn't want to hear him say, yes, there's somebody else. So I didn't. Because I just didn't want to process it. And I didn't want to ever hear him say, there's somebody else. So I didn't.
You loved him more than you loved yourself.
You know, it's funny you should say that. That's exactly what my Bishop Pastor Dave said to me when I began to tell him the story. I absolutely did. Because whatever I do in life is for real, is forever, is for commitment. I didn't come into this marriage. Yes, maybe I should have got a counsellor, maybe I should have confronted him and sat down and said, hey, what's going on, and let's forgive and forget. Maybe I should have. But I was so scared. I was so scared. I know that there's a lot of women out there who know that their husband is having an affair.
And what do they do? What do they do in that situation?
You know,
there's a rose out there watching.
So you have to confront it. You have to deal with the truth. Isn't going to go away because you hide it or because you don't deal with it. The truth is there. So you have to go and you have to say, look, what's going on? I can see that something's going on. I have evidence that something's going on. It's gonna blow up eventually.
Well, take me to the end of that. How did it end? How did you confront him? What? Oh my gosh.
I'm sharing this story, and I have struggled to share this story because a lot of it I was embarrassed about my stupidity.
But see,
I was embarrassed.
But you know what?
I know.
You didn't do anything wrong.
I know.
You're the one that's holding the guilt and the embarrassment.
I did, and I beat myself up for years because I knew that there was something that I knew was wrong in my marriage for a long time, and I didn't confront it, I didn't face it, I didn't deal with it. And then it all came to a head. So it was Christmas, and he'd had these bouts of coming and going and disappearing, and I didn't say anything to anybody. But one Christmas, when we had a whole lot of stuff that was going on as a family, he just disappeared.
During the holidays?
He just disappeared. Lock, stock and barrel. But this time he took stuff. He used to just walk out the door.
He took stuff as in clothing?
Yeah. But he used to just walk out the door and not come back for a few days.
Really?
And God forbid not come back for a week. And I just hid it.
For years?
I hid it for years.
And so so when he'd come back, it's just, hi babe, hi?
No, we would argue.
You'd argue, okay.
And then he would say, oh, I had a moment, oh, I needed to do this, or I needed to get away. And he blamed it on some midlife crisis, and he blamed it on a whole lot of things. And then I said, well, is it me, or is it because we don't have any kids? I asked all these questions, trying to get to the bottom of it.
Trying to figure out what's wrong with me.
Yes. And then it just kind of went quiet, and things kind of was beginning to get back to normal before he then disappeared this Christmas. He just disappeared. And so this time I had to do something about it. So I said something to my sister. I had to, because we were all getting ready to go out for Christmas. And I had to explain a missing husband. And then I started to tell my story to Pastor Dave. I shared some stuff with my younger sister, but I felt like I was burdening her, you know, because she was single and all that kind of stuff. So I did felt like I was burdening her. So I started to share it, and then I just left it. And then I went to work, and next thing he phoned me and he said, I'm in the car park, I need to speak to you. And I went out into the car park, and he said to me, look, I need to tell you something. And I just sat back in my car and I said, I know what you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me that you've been having an affair, that there's somebody else. And I said, I know something's been going on. So talk to me. Right. And he told me that he was having an affair, etc., etc. And I said, okay, well, so what does this mean? Are you still having an affair? Are you leaving me? And I went into this very calculated mode, like I'm going to just sort it out. And he said, no, I want to please forgive me. I was a fool, blah, 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 blah. And this is what he said on that night. And we went home. My bishop came. I had just a couple of people who knew that I just asked them to pray. My bishop came, and we had a counseling session and prayed, and we went into counseling. And as we went into counseling, I said, because this is my marriage.
Right.
I'm not going anywhere. And you're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere, let's make this work. And for about 2 weeks, we were in this deep counseling. And I'm going, yes. And I'm getting ready to write my book of how, I found this about my husband and this, and I'm going into counseling, I'm getting all excited. And then all the truth broke. And what had happened was, my bishop got a phone call from another church. And they were trying to find my husband because there was a young girl there that was heartbroken because she just had to cancel her wedding.
Why did she have to cancel her wedding?
Because she was getting married to my husband.
Want to find out more about I Ain't That Chick? Visit our website at www.iantthatchick.com.